to speak with today is having a conversation with Spirit and quieting our minds. It'd be so nice if you could just pick up the phone and dial our loved ones. What would you say? And what do you think they would say to you? So let's pick up the phone, let's dial Spirit, and try to hear them as clearly as we possibly can, as if they were standing right next to us, taking the static out, like the static that you used to hear in the old-fashioned overseas calls. How can we get rid of the static? It comes from quieting our minds, putting our thoughts aside, which can be easier said than done. There are many pathways available for clearer communication with the spirit realm. What I mean by this is that our loved ones can communicate with us through different modes, such as smell, taste, just to name a few. Each etheric sense is linked to each other. I want you to think about the expression, all roads lead to Rome. There are many ways to make contact with spirit along the path. Clear cognizance or clear knowing, in my opinion, touches every facet of spirit communication. First, we know that spirit is here. But how can we recognize this? Perhaps through a person's favorite perfume. Maybe you start to smell lily of the valley. Perhaps you start to taste this person's favorite food or something they made for you that your favorite food. Or you hear the person's favorite song, you smell pipe smoke. Okay, now you bring that energy closer to you. You've made the connection. You may not hear them, but you've made a connection. Trust yourself and trust spirit. Trust that you're receiving something, anything, but energy from spirit. Then expand your energy circle, your aura, your energy in a controlled manner outwards. Expanding your aura or your energy as far out as you makes you feel comfortable. What I mean by this in a controlled manner is as you expand, start slowly, start like an inch away, perhaps, but pay close attention. What are you experiencing? What smells? What feeling? Do you see an image? Do you see a symbol? Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? Do you have a dry throat? Now expand a little further. Same thing, stop, be controlled. What are you experiencing? What do you sense? And keep on going further and further and further. And each time stopping and just analyzing what's out there. And then at the very end, when you feel comfortable, and there's no end, but where you feel comfortable, take all that information in, sit there in the quiet and connect with spirit. And what I suggest is having a voice recorder, a tape recorder, or a voice recorder. Record this, because as you go through each step, you can't sit there and take notes because you won't have that connection. You won't have that strong connection. What I think is interesting, because I've done this so many times in the past, I'll have the tape recorder on, and when I play it back, it's amazing because sometimes I'll hear voices. Now, they may be, may not be coherent, but there's something. And other times there were voices like Mary, and I know I heard moms saying Mary. But years ago, with my grandma, she was very strong. And you would get messages, like as if I'm talking to you. Not full sentences, mind you, but bits and pieces. So I highly recommend that as far as keeping the recording. Now, our physical mind tends to try to analyze everything. It's the world of energy. It's the world of the physical energy, and which tries to dominate control of what we experience at any level. What we need to do is kick our rational minds out the door. Not really, but we need to take our rational minds and try to make sense of what mediumship is. It doesn't make any sense to the rational mind. How can a person communicate in different dimensions? How can a person communicate with someone who's passed away? How can you see them, hear them, smell them, whatever it may be? It doesn't make any sense in any fashion. And I get it. And that's the general public. That's how they feel. A lot of them do. It doesn't make sense with the rational mind. But with the spiritual mind, it makes all the sense in the world. All the sense. And it's real. You can put your finger on it. It's real. Communicating and hearing spirit, not everybody hears it directly, but there was a medium years ago in England, and I believe her name was Miss Roberts, Estelle Roberts. Anyway, she was a direct medium, and I remember hearing stories from my grandmother. And she would fill the auditorium, and I don't know which one it was in England, but she would fill the auditorium, because I remember Grammy telling me about this. And she would say that people hundreds and hundreds of people, not just 10, people who were close to stage could hear voices and whisper of spirit before they became louder. I think it's amazing. I mean, I'll never forget the stories that I've been told from, family, but I just want to share that with you as an aside. But to get back on point, it's not only connecting to the people who've passed away, it's also connecting, as I said, to different dimensions. Unfolding of our soul has many different facets, many, many different facets. Once we let go of our thinking mind, our conscious mind, and let our soul, our inner being take over, we can permit ourselves to unfold like a flower, just like the rose that Faith had mentioned, a truth. Oh my goodness. Well, truth, I know there's so much faith. I just equate both together. Like a rare rose, allowing it to mature, to expand. It's so important in the natural progression of our own spiritual development. We don't have to become a medium, but it's the unfolding and the developing of one's own being to the fullest potential. Becoming our own magnificent, beautiful, unique, bright light. And when we think of the rose, all the rose has to do is just be. It's just present and allow. It allows the universe to take its course. There is no ego or thinking mind. It is totally one with the spirit, with the universe. It's the same principle with us. As we let our thinking minds subside and quiet them, we can start feeling a different energy, a quiet energy, a loving energy. It's in these moments of quiet, consciously and unconsciously, we have the potential to unfold beyond our greatest expectations, connecting to the source that we all came from and we're all going back to. As we increase our vibration through prayer or meditation, we increase our capacity to hold the light inside this vessel. We have the potential to vibrate at a higher level, yet we must always remember to quiet the thinking mind. Always quiet the thinking mind. Don't let things get in that are negative or will bring you down. Always quiet the mind. It may be very difficult to quiet one's mind, especially with everything going on in this world today and your own personal life, perhaps. But we must never forget ever where we came from, ever. And why we're here, and more importantly, where we're going. If we were meant to stay here, we would be on Earth forever and a day. That's not the plan. The plan is unfolding as a spirit being. And our unique spacesuit that we have, that's made for Earth, our vessel. Earth is the schoolhouse preparing each and every one of us for our next journey. Much the same as when we came here before to this life, we were prepared in the other dimension, in the other life, if you want to call it that, to come here. Now we're here being prepared to go to the next step. We must learn our lessons well and must learn them with joy and to the point that it's no brainer. Got the lesson down, next on to the next one. And I truly believe that's why life isn't easy. That's why life is not easy, because there are lessons to learn. If life was that easy, we wouldn't learn the lessons and we wouldn't be able to go or expand to our greatest potential ever. And I remember Mom saying to me before she passed, not the day before she passed, but before she did in the hospital. And she said to me, I'll be graduating soon. Now it's time for you to learn your lessons alone. I'll always be with you. You'll never be alone, but you'll be alone physically. She said, and I want you to learn these lessons with joy. And always remember, always remember, expand, no matter what's going on around you, no matter the negativity or the people that are being poopy. Those are her exact words. She said, don't let them get you. Always try to advance and just be a blessing to as many people as you can, even though they may not be a blessing to you. And again, this is one thing that in the teachings of Mom, or when she was bringing me up, she would always say, always be quiet, listen to Spirit, listen to Grammy, listen to your guides. Tapping into our consciousness or super consciousness brings the past, the present, and the future together all at once. It exists simultaneously, but there are different dimensions. And I believe, personally, it's something to do with the wormhole, with physics, that we can experience everything all at once. Because how can we for a split second all of a sudden go back to a vacation we're on with a loved one and just experience that joy, smelling the roses, smelling the scents, the ocean breeze? There's just so much in our minds that we're capable of that we just haven't even tapped into. This doorway, once we open it, can lead to miraculous experiences. The door may feel like it's locked, but we have the key inside of us to unlock the door. And we have the potential to open the door as wide as we want, to take the hinges off if we want. Stepping through this dimensional doorway allows us not only to directly communicate with our loved ones, but it also allows us to experience their journey on the other side with them at the same time. So it's not only getting messages from Spirit and sharing their wisdom with us, but we also can travel temporarily in our etheric bodies once the doorway is open with them. Our loved ones and spirit realm are all around us, and they want to communicate as much as we want to communicate with them. We may need guidance and have teachers on this plane to help us with techniques to get to the next level. But at the very end, the key is within us to unlock the door. To open the door, to take off the hinges, and walk through the threshold. And once we get through that threshold, we don't ever have to turn back because we're at a different level. There's no need to turn back. And just moving forward. It's probably just a matter of time before we're all able to download different dimensions in our own consciousness, allowing perhaps telepathy to not only be a thing of the future, but the norm. And I think one day telepathy will replace emails, much the same emails replace snail mail. It's something to think about, because you really don't want to think or know what people are thinking about, especially if they don't like what you're wearing or whatever it may be, or they don't like your cooking. But I want you to think of the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy traveling down the yellow brick road with her beautiful red ruby slippers. When she gets to Oz, what does she realize? It's always been within her. That is something that has stayed with me since I've watched that movie with my mom for the first time years ago. We're all amazing beings. We're all on our own journeys, but at the very end, we're all going to the same place, maybe at different levels, but we're all going to the same place. Mediumship is connecting life to life, is connecting this life to the next life. Mediumship in all its forms allow us to celebrate life to the fullest. I really believe that. And isn't that why we're all here, to celebrate life, that celebrate life? And I want to just convey and share a story that happened when I was, must have been 3 years old. I was very young. And about direct communication. I don't know what Mom was doing. She should have been watching me, but she wasn't. And I got into everything. So I must have crawled to the stairs. Anyway, I started going down the cellar stairs. And I remember getting to the cellar stairs. And I remember hearing this voice saying, turn around, turn around. Otherwise, I would have fallen down the whole flight of stairs. And I did. I turned around and I heard the voice say to me, put your hands on the stairs and give me your foot. Reach back, give me your foot. And I could feel my foot being placed on the step below me. And then the same thing, put your hand down, next step. And I walked holding on the stairs, down the stairs. And then finally I heard, sit here and Mom will be with you. Mom will be with you. And it wouldn't make sense for many years after. But I sat down and Mom was panicking. Oh my God, she was crying. I thought she was gonna have a heart attack. She came down, picked me up and said, how'd you get down? She said, and then she said, how'd you get down at the bottom of the stairs? I said, well, I thought you took me. I mean, you're a kid. Come to find out, this was years later, my sister came to me like I'm talking to you right now. And I found out that I had a sister. She died 10 years before I was born. But amazing, we can hear directly or in our minds or whatever it may be, but spirit is right there 24/7. And if there was more than 24/7, they're there with us. All we have to do is reach out when we're ready, and they'll be right there to help us. If we need help, or they're right there to be with us, so we're not alone, and we're never alone. Blessings to everyone. Just a million blessings to everybody. Thank you.